Hello friends, this is Worm, that's my tax code, and today I want to talk about Banner of War for the Titan and whether or not I think it will be getting nerfed, because I was on the forums today and I saw a couple of posts talking about Banner of War potentially being nerfed, and at first I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense. I've seen a couple posts like that over the past few days. Then we saw in the, raid rules, whatever, from the TWAB today, TWID, whatever, that Banner of War will be disabled for Crota's End contest mode, right? Now, this doesn't necessarily affect me because I will probably not be doing the contest mode, but I don't know. You also get Necrochasm as a guaranteed drop if you complete it. So maybe we will. I don't know. But anyways, the fact that it's banned there, the fact that players are saying, oh, it needs to be nerfed, it begs the question, does it deserve a nerf? Does it warrant a nerf? So, of course, I think the important thing we should do is look at what exactly it does, where it's useful, and how good it can potentially be in PvE and PvP content, right? Now, in PvP, I don't think Banner of War is an issue by any means. It heals you for, I would say, probably about maybe 15-20% of your shields each time it pulses. And it pulses very, depending on how many stacks of Banner of War you have, it will pulse X amount of times. The healing is not quite to the level of something like a healing rift with that constant healing, but it is very, very close, very similar. And I think if you have higher resilience, it might actually be more than that of something like a healing rift. But the way you activate it is by getting a melee kill, a sword kill, or what is it? A super kill? Is that right? I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I think it's just mainly melee and sword kills. Now, melee does not have to be a charged melee. It can be any melee, which means glaives can proc it, which means that your charged melee, your uncharged melee, all of these will proc Banner of War. And as you and your teammates get kills, it will increase the stacks, right? And your teammates get the same benefits that you do. Why was it disabled in the day one raid? I have a feeling that Bungie could not work out a change for it in that final boss room. We talked in yesterday's video about Crota's End and actually fighting Crota himself, how one of the main mechanics of Destiny 1 was the fact that you can't heal in that final room. Banner of War would completely circumvent that, and I think that having the ability to quickly heal an entire team as well as giving them Woven Mail really might dull down that encounter, because if you took away the inability to heal from Destiny 1, you would have a situation where Crota was a cakewalk. The amount of ads that spawn wasn't too high. About the most dangerous thing in the room besides Crota himself was the boomers that would spawn up top, and a sniper could quickly take care of those, and they would be gone for a good amount of time, right? So I think that that's the reason why they disabled Banner of War. I don't think that there were any major bugs or glitches with it, because we hadn't seen anything on any kind of media. Cheese Forever didn't do a Banner of War glitch that I'm aware of. So I think that's the reason why Banner of War was disabled. But will it get a nerf in PvE, and does it deserve a nerf in PvE? And my answer is no, absolutely not, right? But let's dive into it a little bit. Banner of War fills almost like a fantasy that Titans have had for a long time, and that is the idea of being a up close, tank, a monster, a beast, whatever you want to call it, that can continue on a QCQ gunfight or fight in general, right? You can run up there, you can activate Woven Mail, you can get Banner of War going, you can hit enemies with your melees to sever them. I mean, if you have Woven Mail and the enemy that's attacking you is severed, I mean, you're taking almost no damage already, right? I don't know the actual calculation, but 40% damage reduction from the enemy on top of, a 60 or 70% damage resistance that you have, that equals a lot of damage that you're not taking anymore. On top of that, of course, you're just healing constantly, passively, and you can get that timer up there to 30 seconds, and every kill will reset it, and every kill that your ally gets will reset it. But again, I don't think that it is necessarily OP or broken by any means. I think that Banner of War, especially on in a solo scenario, is not exactly the best. If you were to take Banner of War into just a legend, Nightfall, for example, right? You activate it, you get it going. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of survivability. You're going to have a lot of tankiness that other classes don't have, other subclasses in the Titan kit do not have. But at the same time, Tangle cooldown is 10 seconds. Banner of War lasts up to 30, but Woven Mail only lasts 10 seconds. Did I say that? Hang on, let me make sure I say it right. Tangle cooldown is 12 seconds. Banner of War 30 seconds, and the Woven Mail only lasts 10 seconds. So really, the only way that you're going to be able to fulfill that really power, that power fantasy that players have with Banner of War by running around with, a sword, because I do it. I put on a sword, I run around with a sword, I get sword kills, I get, that health regen, I get Banner of War going. It's a lot of fun. And when you have Woven Mail, it adds it all on top. But in order to play that playstyle, you have to be mobile. And when you're using something like Into the Fray, Into the Fray being the one where when you destroy a Tangle, you get Woven Mail. Like, in order for that to last to its maximum effectiveness, you have to stand close to where that Tangle was destroyed at. And that kind of, I don't want to say it kills the efficacy, but it takes out a lot of the fun factor, right? Because you're jumping from Tangle to Tangle. And yeah, like, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic to have that level of resistance, but having to constantly relocate on the battlefield is one of the reasons why Solar Titan is not very popular, right? Solar Titan, when you stand in a sunspot, you get Sol Invictus, you get Restoration. But that restoration, you have to step out of the sunspot back into it constantly, because they want this idea of a roaming, battlefield monster that goes from sunspot to sunspot, regening health, getting faster cooldown, stuff like that. But let's be honest, like, very few players play Solar Titan. In fact, I think this season is the most we've seen Solar Titan being used since Season of the Haunted, or maybe it's a little bit after Season of the Haunted, when the nerfs to like restoration and stuff hits, because it's not really enjoyable to go from spot to spot, kill some enemies and go to the next spot, kill some enemies, go to the next spot, having to relocate around the battlefield. And of course, in a raid scenario or in a Grandmaster Nightfall scenario, like, that's really risky to run from place to place, because let's say, Tangle drops in the middle of the room. Are you really going to run out there, grab that Tangle, run the risk of not having Woven Mail? Like, yes, you get ×4 stacks of Banner of War, and it's healing you, but in a Grandmaster Nightfall where things literally 1 to 2 shot you, like, Banner of War isn't going to make a world of difference. Now, Banner of War plus Woven Mail plus including like a severed enemy, yeah, that's a lot of damage resistance. You could throw in a glaive for a glaive shield, but at the same time, even like, that's a lot of hoops to jump. That's a very specific build, and that's exactly what Bungie wants. They want specific builds to do specific things very, very good. That's why we see nerfs to some classes and subclasses that we're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It's because generally these classes are too good. Look at Arc Titan in the Crucible. It was nerfed because it was generally too good. Now it's still very, very good, but they've taken away some of its power, in the knockout nerf, in the, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, in the shoulder charge nerf, which I know that wasn't just to Arc, but, y'all get the idea, right? They nerf things, they change things, they buff things because they want certain things to work under a specific power fantasy. Look at Stronghold. Stronghold is a perfect example. Stronghold requires you to build into swords, and it's literally an invincible build. Pair it with Banner of War, and it's fantastic. But you're committing your exotic piece of armor to it. You're committing a very specific build to it. Like, you're committing all these things to make this one aspect do wonderful things, or this one exotic to do wonderful things, or this one, subclass build, blah, 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 to do wonderful things. That's why I don't think Banner of War really needs a nerf, because in general, like, yes, it's good, but if you take it into Grandmaster level content, I think that you're going to start seeing it be less and less good. I'm not going to say it's going to be bad, because of course in Grandmaster content, if you're all kind of, within the same area, you're getting that constant healing, you're refreshing that timer, like, that is nice, that's convenient. But at the same time, how long can you keep that timer up before you run out of small minor enemies to kill? Because each enemy gives you like 2 seconds, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I think that any enemy you kill just adds 2 seconds, whether it's a champion, whether it's a thrall, like, any enemy just adds 2 seconds to it. So I don't think that Banner of War is in need of any kind of nerf. And of course in the Crucible, it's not OP, it's not broken by any means. Like, if Bungie were to nerf Banner of War specifically for Crucible reasons, I would be shocked, because it's not something I even see viable in the Crucible. Like, I think last week when I was playing Trials, I saw one person activate Banner of War and they died immediately after, because you get ×1 stack for a melee kill. Like, that's great. In order to ramp up your stacks, you have to get multiple kills, and get them within a certain amount of time of one another. In the Crucible, Banner of War is not an issue. In PvE, though, I don't think Banner of War is an issue. And like I said, the reason why, Bungie, the reason why is because in high-level content, it's going to be difficult to upkeep that buff. Now, there is another exception. That is team play, right? Say you get 2 or even 3 Strand Titans rocking, into the fray and Banner of War. Like, yes, that's going to be an incredibly strong group of allies. Somebody makes a Tangle, picks it up, throws their feet, everybody goes to the Tangle, they got that healing, they got that Woven Mail. By the time Woven Mail's at 6 seconds, they can go get another Tangle, lob it, run to it, stuff like that. But again, any build is going to be wonderful when you pair it with other players that are using similar builds, right? Like if you think about, Void Hunters, say you got, 3 Void Hunters all using Omnioculus, like that's literally invisibility spam to the max. I mean, you can't get more invisible than something like that. Is it broken? No, because all 3 players are building into this one specific build, and there's several builds, take Fallen Sunstar Warlocks. Lord, if you get 3 Fallen Sunstar Warlocks and they just put their rifts all like kind of in a line of one another, literally the ability spam is insane. One person picks up Ionic Charge, an Ionic Trace, that are spawning from Warlock literally every 2 seconds. You're going to have basically infinite ability spam, right? Even like Geomags right now, giving you that extra super energy from collecting Ionic Traces. Geomags are looking really, really hot. And if you get, Fallen Sunstar, paired with Geomags and stuff like that, like, yeah, you're going to be getting a ton of supers off. You're going to be getting a ton of abilities off. But again, it's all requiring players to build together. And that's what Bungie wants. Like, Bungie wants build crafting to support one another. Like, they have some support builds in the game, not a whole lot, but they do have some. And Banner of War is Titan's, ultimate support build. But the other balancing factor behind the support build is you have to follow that Titan around. Like, if you're doing solos, right? If I'm go to the forums and I pick up 2 other people for a Grandmaster Nightfall, and somebody's running Banner of War and I want that Banner of War buff, I have to follow them around. If they're making dumb decisions, I've got to make those dumb decisions too, or I'm not going to get the benefit of it, right? And if I'm not getting the benefit, then it's not working to its full potential. Okay, but I mean, that's really all I can say about Banner of War. I do not think that it is in need of any kind of nerf. I don't think that it's OP or broken by any means. Like, yes, it makes players stronger. It can make players, you could even say potentially invincible. I don't think you're invincible, especially in Grandmaster content. In Grandmaster content, things slap. They absolutely slap. In Grandmaster content, tier 10 resilience with Woven Mail, a boss stomp is still going to take you to red bar, right? Another boss stomp will happen before you're back to full health that will likely kill you. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, though. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Banner of War? Do you think it needs to be nerfed? Do you think it doesn't need to be nerfed? What are your thoughts on this? My arguments here as to why Bungie should not nerf it that I presented. Like, what do you think about them? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comments. Of course, if you enjoyed today's video, drop a like. It helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations like this one. And yeah, leave a comment in the comments as to what we should talk about next. Guys, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye for now.